I got a postcard, I got a letter, I got a picture, I got a...
Hi, and welcome to Sessions and On That Note. I'm Cindy Royal, helping you get to know the talented and creative musicians in the Austin community. Today, my guest is Brent Adair, and Brent is my friend and my neighbor, so thanks for coming by today, Brent.
Good to be here.
Brent just lives 2 doors down, so I hope there was no problem getting across the Luxinger's yard to be with me here today.
Big traffic jam, but I made it.
Great, I'm glad that you're here. And I met you when I moved into this house 2 years ago in Hyde Park, and you told me that you were a musician, and I have to admit that when you said that, I was like, yeah, you know, who isn't in this neighborhood? So I didn't get a chance to see you.
In this town?
In this town.
In this neighborhood.
I didn't get a chance to see you play live for, I don't know, maybe a couple of months. And then I finally went to a solo show at Clementine and was just blown away by your delivery as well as your songwriting. And so that's what today's theme is, songwriting. And I got the idea to talk about it with you having your guitar handy because I've been watching that Elvis Costello Spectacle show, and that's how he did an interview with Jacob Dylan that I just thought was amazing, and I thought you'd be a great person to do that, to be actually able to play your guitar while you describe some of the songs that, the way you went through the process of writing them. So thanks for agreeing to do that.
Cool.
So first of all, why don't you talk about how you first started writing songs?
Yeah, I started playing guitar when I was around, let's see, I have a twin brother. We were given a guitar for Christmas when we were 16, and we fought over it for a year.
And you won, apparently.
And I won. Yeah, he'll give you a different version of that. We both took to it, actually, and to the point where parents felt justified in getting another one. It's always interesting to see if kids will take to it. We took to it. Had been singing for my whole life, but had never been playing guitar, and got interested in guitar actually partly from being around a lot of guitar players who couldn't sing, just in casual circles, you know, hanging out at somebody's house, somebody gets out a guitar, and a good guitar player, but they can't sing. And I was like, I want to learn to play guitar. And so then fought over that guitar, got another one, and played guitar for probably 5 or 6 years. That I really wasn't into. Songwriting didn't appeal to me. I wasn't really focused, or didn't seem to get the bug to write my own songs for quite a few years later. That was like right out of college, so 21, 22, and I first started trying to pen my own stuff. Yeah, so long time ago.
Okay, and so what were the kinds of themes that you dealt with in some of your first songs?
There was very much that kind of grew out of my conservative upbringing, I would say. Was songwriting initially for me was a desire to express truth. Whether, you know, in a lot of cases it was relational truth, or it was you know, experience of learning something, but it was, I've learned something, and so I want to share this with the world. And so it was more about a lesson almost, rather than just digging in and ripping into something that's intimately my experience. That, you know, now my approach has, you know, become less of, I don't really want to be taught a lesson when I listen to a song. I want to hear a story, and you know, I might connect with it, I might not, but your job as a songwriter is to tell a story, and amazingly it seems like more people end up connecting with that than you're trying to teach them something, some kind of lesson.
Mm-hmm. So when you recorded your first CD in 2004, Pieces, were some of those early songs on it?
There was a couple of them. Yeah, probably one of the single-y type tunes. The opening track on the record was a song called One of These Days. That was very much in that tradition, kind of the lesson being life is short, you got to make the most, you know, don't let little things stop you from pursuing your dream, and that was a song intended to convey that lesson of inspiring somebody to pursue your passion. And yeah, so there were songs on that record. As often, I had done a demo, a little just solo guitar vocal demo CD to start getting gigs around town before that, but that was my first studio record, and there were songs on that record that had spanned the 10-year time span from when I started writing. One of the songs, I think the earliest, you know, was maybe 2 years into my initial songwriting. So the time period represented on that record as far as songwriting was much more vast And that's, I know, very typical with first records, is that, you know, they represent all, you're picking the best of all the songs you've ever written for your first record, and then clock starts ticking, you have 2 years to write the material for another one.
Everybody has this expectation, and anticipation for what's next.
Right.
So then, to do your next CD, in 2008, you released Ostrich, which was an amazing CD. You worked with the great Billy Harvey on that CD, and it was one of my favorite CDs of 2008. And I'm not just saying that to you. I actually documented it in the Texas Music on stands now. You can still go out and get that as one of my top Texas CDs of 2008. So what did Billy do for your songs? What's the difference between Pieces and Ostrich?
His approach was like radically different from my previous approach. The previous approach, my goal, the producer's goal, was to create a sound that was indistinguishable from a major label recording. It was, we want people to listen to this and go, I can't hear any difference between this CD and the $300,000 CDs that you're hearing on the radio. And I was like, of course, because that's what I'm going to be, as a $300,000 major label artist. And so that was the goal. It's hard to
achieve without $300,000. But okay.
Yeah, that aside, that detail aside, but that's a fundamentally different goal from, you know, the first thing that Billy Harvey told me, which was, my goal is to capture you. It might be great, it might suck. I can't promise you anything. All I can promise is we're going to capture you, whatever that is. You might not ever sell a single CD. And that was kind of shocking for somebody who I was about to, you know, hire and pay money to produce a record, is to them to say, I can't guarantee you'll sell anything. We'll have an amazing experience and you will be captured forever, but you might not ever sell a single record. And scary and daunting, but wow. And I was absolutely floored and ready to sign on to that process. But then the process was totally different. We started that record, in every case, my first record, we started with the rhythm section, you know, worked everything out, charted, pre-production, and then went to the studio and laid down the rhythm tracks, which is cool, and you know, probably the most common way to start recording a CD, start the tracking process. But as a songwriter who spends a lot of time playing solo shows, it can feel a little constricting to have at the very beginning these tracks laid down that are very expensive to undo if you decide you want to change something. On my second record, we totally took a different approach. It was, we're going to start with you playing and singing at the same time, and the rhythm section will come in and they should match you. If your rhythm is a little off, if it's not to a click, that's fine. These guys are good. It needs to be close, but my rhythm was good enough to do that. But mostly it was, they should be playing off of you. They should be listening to the emotive qualities of your voice, listening to your guitar and matching that. And so the tracks that come out will end up much more supportive of these songs, which is how these things started. They didn't start as a band. They started as me in a room with the guitar. And I thought that was a totally cool and different way to approach the record, and I think it sounds different, and I think that's part of it. Is his approach all the way around was, let's focus on you, for better or for worse.